Hello, everyone. Hope you are doing well. And let's start with our first story titled, It Has Been a Year and I Am Still Not Over It. I, 30 male, met my wayward wife, 30 female, in grad school, and we started dating. A year after graduating, we married. Everything was great. She was the most beautiful woman I had ever seen and was way out of my league. Beyond her physical beauty, she was the nicest person I had ever met. She was kind, thoughtful, and empathetic. She definitely made me a better person. About 2 years ago, she started a new job. At first, she talked a lot about the job, and especially about her new boss. She clearly admired and was impressed by him, and was proud that he was very happy with her work. But sometime after that, I noticed that she stopped mentioning him. That was the first red flag. I didn't ask anything, though. Then I noticed she seemed a little distant with me. She seemed off. She was still very loving and affectionate, but her mood wasn't as light, and I would occasionally see her dry tears. I asked what was wrong, but she assured me that she was fine. At the same time, she started working longer hours. That is not unusual in our profession, and she would occasionally go out for drinks after work with coworkers on Thursday and Friday nights. Again, that is not unusual. Sometimes I did too, with my own coworkers. Then there were the more frequent dinners with clients, and also overnight business trips. Again, not unusual in our business, but something in the pit of my stomach told me something was wrong. I never checked her phone before. One night, when she was out to dinner with clients, I grabbed her iPad, which was linked to her phone. She never really uses her iPad. I guessed her PIN pretty easily. I saw emails and text messages between her and her boss. Most were business related, but some were flirty, with them complimenting the other on their clothing and appearance. Others were discussions of where they would meet up, and what time they would leave work, or what restaurants they would have dinner at. It was clear that something was going on. These texts and emails went back about 3 months. I checked our credit card bills, but there was nothing out of the ordinary. I checked her iPad again and did not see any inappropriate photos. I put a tracker in her car. One night while she was sleeping, I changed her settings so that I could track her location. One night, when she told me she was working late at the office, the GPS in her car showed her at a restaurant. I drove there, and sure enough, her car was there. I was tempted to go in to see if she was with her boss, but I didn't want her to see me. Shortly after that, she told me that she was going out for drinks with her coworkers. I went to her office and parked outside where I wasn't visible. I saw her walk out with her boss. They were parked near each other, each got into their cars and drove off. I tracked her to a hotel. His car was there too. After a bit of time, I went in and went to the bar. But they weren't at the bar. I did this over a period of a month and found other similar things. I retained a lawyer and told him to file divorce papers. On the day before the divorce petition was to be filed in court, I told my wife that I had made dinner reservations at a fancy restaurant for the next night, Friday, and to be home from work by 5 so we could get ready. She agreed. I took Friday afternoon off from work. I decided to give her some gifts. I found an old ring box, took my wedding ring off, and put it in the ring box. Then I took a copy of the divorce petition and put that in a gift box. Finally, I took our framed wedding portrait and put that in a gift box with a note saying, "I thought you might want a reminder of what you destroyed." I wrapped each box separately with gift wrap and ribbon and put all 3 boxes in a larger box, which I also wrapped. At the bottom of the box, I left another note saying, "I know." It also said, "There are 2 suitcases in our bedroom. If you have any decency, please be gone by 7." Then I left. I kept checking our doorbell camera, but she didn't leave, so at 11 o'clock I went home. She was in the living room, holding our wedding portrait. She was in tears. As soon as she saw me, she said, "I'm sorry," and she begged me not to leave her. I said as coldly as I could that I had loved her so much, but now I loathe her, and that I never want to see her again. After a lot more crying and begging, she packed her bags and left. I told her she could come back another time to get her other things as long as I wasn't there. She did not contest the divorce. We sold the house and split our accounts. Everything went quickly and easily. The only time I saw her was at our final divorce hearing, and we did not speak. I should feel good about this, but I don't. In fact, I feel worse than ever. I have been in therapy since all this happened, but it hasn't really helped. I am also taking antidepressants, but they have helped very little. I force myself to see my friends and family, but I feel no joy. I have no interest in dating. I wish that I had given her the chance to explain and to try to make amends. She was my everything, and now I have nothing. All I do is go to work, go to the gym, and sleep. Does it ever get better? What can I do to get over this downward spiral? It has been about 4 months since the divorce was final, and a little more than a year since I filed. I should add that I have run into her older brother a few times. He told me that after my confrontation with her, she quit her job, found a new job, and that she completely ended things with her boss, who is or was married. At first, she went to stay with her parents and now has an apartment near them. You handled this like a boss. Time will heal the wounds. Stay strong. And now to the update. Thank you to everyone who commented or sent me a DM. Everyone was thoughtful and supportive, and I am very appreciative of all your comments and advice. Before I get to the update, I will add some information and answer some questions. We did not have children, but had talked about starting a family. I can't imagine how hard this would have been if kids were involved. Our house. When we sold the house as part of the divorce, my ex gave me a higher percentage of the proceeds than I was entitled to. I had put in more for the down payment, plus my parents had given us a gift as part of the down payment. Also, because I told her to take most of the furnishings, she wanted to reduce her share. I ended up with about 60%, and she ended with about 40%. I thought that was decent of her. Also, I had no legal right to kick her out, but she did leave that night and made no attempt to stay in the house. Did she try to reach out to me? No. But the night I kicked her out, I told her that I never wanted to see her or talk to her again, and I blocked her number. She respected that wish. Should I have gone no contact with her family? I love her family, and I know they love me. Likewise, she loved my family, and they loved her. So when I ran into her brother, I couldn't and wouldn't ignore him. Did I tell the affair partner's wife? No, I wanted to, but I couldn't locate her. I never met her and don't know where she lives or works, and I don't even know her first name. Their last name is a common one. Did I report the affair partner to his employer? No. This is something that was a wrong decision by me. I weighed the joy I would get in destroying him versus my desire for privacy. We are all in the same business, and I didn't want the entire city to know, even though I have nothing to be ashamed of. I recognize that was the wrong decision, but fret not. I have learned that affair partner blew up his own life with a major assist from my ex. Now the actual update. After reading all your comments and messages, I realized that I did need closure. Maybe it would have been better if I yelled and screamed and cried when I confronted her instead of being icily cold. I also felt badly about how I let her know that I knew what was going on. It seemed intentionally cruel. I know that I should feel guilty because her intentional cruelty was worse. And I won't apologize, but I still felt bad, so I called her. When she heard my voice, she started crying, sobbing, and gasping, really. She kept saying how sorry she was. I told her that I didn't hate her anymore and that I forgive her. It sounds trite, but as soon as I told her that, I felt like a different person. It felt like all of the depression and negativity lifted. We talked for about 20 minutes and agreed to meet 2 days later. She suggested her place, my place, or a coffee shop, but I didn't feel comfortable with those suggestions, so we agreed to meet at a park on Saturday morning. I had a hard time sleeping the night before and arrived early. She was already there. When she saw me, she tried to hug me, but I deflected and shook her hand instead. Our meeting was about 3 hours. It went well. She still cried, but was much more composed than in our phone call. I again told her and that I forgave her. She continually apologized. She thanked me and said that although I have forgiven her, she hasn't forgiven herself and that she hates herself. I have no desire to ask her about the sordid details, but I did ask her some questions. Were there any other men? No. Why? She said that she was flattered by the attention of this slightly older, successful, and good-looking man, and she fell for his advances. It was about affirmation and being desired. She's been in therapy and is still working on herself. Did she love him? She admitted that, while in the affair, she thought she loved him, while still loving me. But as soon as everything hit the fan that night, all feelings of love toward him disappeared. She said that she was still in love with me, as opposed to just loving me. That I was a great husband, and she had absolutely no complaints about our marriage, but she still did that. She emphasized that it was not my fault at all. She made no excuses or denials, and made no effort to minimize what she did. How did she think it would end? She said she never expected him to leave his wife, and never expected to leave me. She foolishly thought that their relationship would just fizzle out and everything would then go on as normal. She admitted that she did not plan to tell me. I did ask her about the times I saw her tears, and she said that was because of her feelings of guilt. What happened after that night? She went to her parents and told them. Then the first thing on Monday morning, she went to her boss/affair partner and told him it was over and that she was quitting. She said that she wanted to work remotely for her remaining 2 weeks. He did not take it well. He refused to accept that their relationship was over. At first he tried to sweet-talk her, but when that didn't work, he became angry. He refused to let her work remotely. It devolved into him threatening her by saying something like, "You'll never work in this town again." With that, she left. She then marched into the office of the CEO and told him that she was quitting immediately if she couldn't work remotely for 2 weeks and that he had threatened her. At first, she did not tell him about the affair. The CEO told her she could either work remotely for 2 weeks and report to a different supervisor or leave immediately. She chose to work remotely. Before the 2 weeks were over, she landed another job, where she currently works. Within the month, she received a call from HR of the old company. Apparently, they did an investigation, which she has heard included searching the emails on their server between the two of them. Although she never claimed that she was coerced by the affair partner, the company is smart enough to realize, as do I, that there is a power imbalance between a superior and a subordinate. They offered her a nice severance plus a promise to give her a great reference in the future in return for her signing a release. Good for her. And she heard from her friends there that affair partner was fired and escorted out of the building. My guess is that this wasn't his first workplace affair, since he brought in a lot of business, and therefore it would take a lot for them to get rid of him. My ex feels guilty for the wife, too. We talked about affair partner's wife a bit, and that she has a need to know. My ex doesn't know if they are still married. If she finds out, our tentative plan is that if the other betrayed spouse doesn't know, I will reach out to her if we can find an email or phone number. If they are no longer together, my ex will reach out to her to apologize. My ex wants us to be together again. I explained that wasn't my intent when I reached out to her, and I hadn't even thought it was a possibility. She asked if we could at least be friends, and I was non-committal. I did unblock her on my phone. The next day she called and invited me to dinner, but I declined, saying, maybe someday. But I agreed to meet her for coffee in a few weeks. So thank you again for all your advice and support. Maybe acceptance and forgiveness is not for everyone, or even for most people, but it is the right thing for me. I feel better every day since I called her to tell her that I forgave her. I do hope that she can forgive herself. Forget about her. You did the right thing by forgiving her, but now it's time to move on and find someone who's worthy of your trust and love. And now to the second story. Discovered my wife's infidelity, moving forward with divorce and a bit of revenge. I, 28 male, have been married to my wife, 27 female, for 3 years, and we've been together for 5 years. We have no children, both work in good IT firms, and our earnings are about equal. We don't own any property together. We rent an apartment. We have no loans, and our savings are separate. About 10 days ago, I discovered she was cheating on me. I overheard her talking to someone on the phone, but the call ended abruptly as soon as I walked in. Later, around 3 a.m., I checked her phone and noticed that her call logs from that evening, around 9 p.m., had been deleted. I did some digging and found out she uses Telegram, which I never knew about since we usually use WhatsApp for all our chats and communication. I've been busy at work for about 3 months because I'm competing for a promotion against 2 other individuals, so I haven't been able to spend much time at home. The affair has been with a work colleague for about 9 weeks. I found out they were sexting each other and exchanging nudes in different positions. I could tell it was just for sex and fun, enjoying each other, I think, as she mentioned many times that she doesn't want him to think it's anything more. They had been physically intimate 4 times. I took screenshots of everything but didn't have the courage to confront her. I was very shaken and thought it would be over if I did. For a few days I was numb and didn't know what to do. When she asked if everything was okay, I said there was a problem at the office. At work, everyone asked if I was okay, so I told them my aunt had died. I also took 2 weeks off and informed HR that my wife was cheating. Then, 4 days ago, she was planning a trip to meet him at a hotel. I was very stressed and heartbroken. I threw up in the morning and had a high fever. I asked her to stay, but she said she would if she could, claiming the work trip was important. At that moment, I knew I was getting a divorce. I asked my brother to follow her and take photos. Yesterday, he got the perfect shot of her kissing him. I was crushed. I cried a lot and wanted to drink, but my brother stopped me. I wanted revenge, so I'm planning to tell her I'm having an affair with another woman and then leave her. She will portray herself as the victim to her friends and parents, who are very conservative, so I'm sure they'll be very angry at me. Then I'll reveal the truth and show proof of her cheating. Nobody will believe her, not even her parents. I spoke to my father's friend, who is also our neighbor and a lawyer. He said the divorce will be easy with the evidence I have, and there's nothing significant to divide, only some jewelry my mother gave my wife. I'm leaving today to stay with a friend who has an extra room and lives alone. Now I'm just waiting for her to come home, and my ring is already off my finger. Wish me luck, and please tell me how to heal from this. That fake affair is a very dumb idea which can be used against you. The best revenge is to stay indifferent and serve her with divorce papers. And now to the update. I wrote this post 8 days ago, but only posted it yesterday, so here's an update. When I told her about my supposed affair, she was shocked. I tried to leave quickly since I had already packed my clothes in the car. She wouldn't let me go and started asking questions like, "Who is she? Do you really love her and not me?" She began mumbling, and I finally shouted, "Let go," something I hadn't done in our 5-year relationship. Then I ran to my car and left. Afterward, she called me at least 10 times. I blocked her, but she continued sending hundreds of texts. I replied, telling her to stop or I'd block her completely and that we'd discuss our future in a few days. She stopped texting after a few more messages, and we agreed to meet. When I met her 3 days later, she looked weak, hadn't eaten, and her eyes were swollen from crying. She began by saying she knew I wasn't having an affair because that's not the kind of person I am, and I never had time for one. She knew I was leaving because of her affair and kept apologizing, asking for forgiveness. After about 30 minutes, I told her the truth. Then she told me that the meeting was not fake, just that the meeting was only for 3 days. The extra day was for her to fool around. That is why she could not stay to take care of me. I asked for her phone, and surprisingly, nothing was deleted. She had blocked her affair partner and told him never to contact her again. She claimed he meant nothing to her and that she only loved me. She even informed her HR department about the affair and plans to resign. She also told the affair partner's wife with proof today's evening. I told her I didn't believe her and wanted a divorce. She broke down crying and begged for another chance. This went on for 2 hours. Then at our home, the affair partner's wife showed up. My wife apologized to her and showed her proof of their affair. That woman cried and cursed my wife, hoping our marriage would break apart. I gave her my number for additional evidence. Before I left, I asked my wife what she thought would happen, considering we had planned to buy a home this year and start a family soon. She couldn't answer. I can tell she's genuinely sorry and unlikely to repeat her mistakes. But why should I give her another chance? I've dedicated 5 years to loving her and improving our life together. The next day, her father called saying how sorry he is, and it is up to me to divorce or not. He told me that his daughter is sincere in forgiveness and asked me to reconsider and give her another chance. Since then, nothing significant has happened. I returned to work, and although my wife hasn't resigned, her affair partner has. HR seems to have fired him. She was put on hold because she's crucial to her team. She keeps texting me and even visited my brother, thinking I was staying with him. She left as soon as she realized I wasn't there. Now I'm left wondering, should I forgive her? I still love her deeply but don't want a toxic or loveless marriage. Trust is essential for me, and I need to know I can rely on my partner completely. Remember, she left you alone and sick to be with her boyfriend. That shows how much she truly loves and respects you. And that's the end of today's saga. Dear viewers, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Until next time, bye-bye.